wild to me. And also, I think that I don't want to hear about another RICO charge at minimum for the rest of this year. It seems like he was like, you know what? How can I finesse another RICO charge conversation before the end of 2024? That's what I feel like is going on right now. Like this is this is crazy. So if y'all don't know already, which at this point I'd be surprised if anybody doesn't know, but Drake is pressing charges against UMG. It's like, yeah, I called it. Yeah, he is pressing charges against UMG, saying that they have inflated not like us streaming, and that when you looked up, whenever you would try to look up Drake's music, that Kendrick's song would come up instead, like not like us. And so he's claiming that UMG did it on purpose, that they paid people off to like have a bunch of bots to run his music, and he feels like it has ruined his reputation, and it's like defamation of character. And so he's pressing charges against UMG. Well, it's like the initial part of pressing the charges. And so when I first saw it, before I even looked at the details, I was like, he's really letting his Karen kite fly high. Like, the fact that you took this opportunity to do one of the most palm colored things that you could do, like to press charges because of a rap battle, like that's just, this, like, you don't care. Like, you don't care about your image. You do not care about your image. And I'm just like, I'm so confused by not the fact that he did it, because when I look up the like when I looked up the reason why he's doing it, like, if y'all don't know, he's basically pressing charges because he is the theory is that he's really trying to get out of his contract with UMG. Like, he's trying to he don't want to he has paid back his advance, and he doesn't want to be with that label anymore. And so the fact that he's now claiming that they were basically promoting his competitor, even though they're associated with the same label, that that was a probable cause for him to be able to get out of the contract, or at least like to start initiate this. Like, there has to be some dealings, some shady dealings or illegal dealings, in order for them to actually be sued of anything. Hey, Ashane. So that's the gist of it, right? So, like, but on the surface it looks like he's just being a hater, but he's just maximizing the opportunity. Theoretically, allegedly, he's maximizing the opportunity to get out of his contract. So he's really doing it so that he can keep his more of his money in his pocket, basically, like he can have control of his career. So I'm sitting here out and understanding all of that. I'm like, okay, cool, 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 cool. I get it. Like, you don't want to be associated with them no more. You don't want them in your pockets, whatever. But the fact that you took this route to do that, and you don't care how that looks for your career, for your brand, like, that's the part to me where it's like you're literally proving that the song was right about you. Like, you're not a part of this culture. Like, you are was it a culture vulture? That's how I've always felt. So I have to give the disclaimer, okay, for anybody who does not know me. I have always been a Drake hater, okay? I've always been a Drake hater. And my hate goes back to Aubrey and Wheelchair Jimmy. in Degrassi. I've never liked him. And whenever I would try to explain this to people, it would make me feel like it would make me feel like something was like I was crazy or something, because people would not understand where the disdain came from. And I would tell people, I was like, I feel like Drake is he's just he's not even like petty, but it's like he's hurt, and it's like he just never got over that one woman or that one girl that hurt him in high school. And he didn't have a real identity to me. And so I would pick up on the way that he would start making music like whatever was trending at the time, right? Like first he was just like, hip hop Drake doing hip hop. Then he became Champagne Poppy. Then he was going on the Afro beats wave. Then he was going on it was another way, well, another one of his more recent ones where it's like every time there was something new that was going to be popular, he was always in on it. And then it's like his entire personality just changed. And if I encountered somebody like that just in everyday life, I wouldn't trust them either. Like I would not trust their intentions. I would not trust anything that they said. I would feel like this is just about the money for you. Like it's not about the people who are impacted. It's not about like how you are, what you're contributing to the culture or to the community. This is literally about I need to just get the money. And that's how I always felt about him. And then on top of that, I always felt like he was whining. I was like, well, how are you still making music about being heartbroken? Like you haven't made better choices by now in women. Like it just was it was weird to me. Like it was weird. And it's always been weird. And I just feel like now he's not trying to hide it no more with these charges. And so for me to say that it ruined his brand, like I feel like it did, but I feel like it is showing people exactly who he is. And it's not a surprise to me. It's more surprising, I guess, that he's not trying to hide it no more. I feel like he's not trying to hide it no more. And there's another thing to it too that really is interesting to me, is that I feel like this is his way of getting his lick back, because not like us. Oh, all the songs, all the tracks that Kendrick dropped, he was like, he dropped them and just completely ruined his thunder. Like every time he would drop something, and I heard that his songs were good. I have to admit that I never listened to Drake's side of the rap beef. So when I was like Kendrick won, it was not coming from it wasn't coming from a fair place, because I didn't listen to Drake songs, but I never listened to Drake's music. I just, if I the songs that I know by Drake are the ones that are singles. They're the ones that everybody knows, the ones they play in the club and on the radio. So and I tried to give it a fair shot, like when he had the something from the six, views from the six, when that album came out, I tried to give it a fair shot, because up until that point, I was like, I have never really tried to listen to a Drake album all the way through. So let me try and like, really listen to it and to make the decision of whether I like him or not, right? And so I listened to the album. I'm pretty sure I listened to like most of it. I don't remember if I listened to every song, but even in trying to listen to it, I was just like, I can't. I don't want to. I know want this. I have enough with just the singles. Like I'm good. Like his music just really bothered me. And so there's this clip. This is not related to the Rico charges or nothing, y'all. But there was this scene from Degrassi where Jimmy and Spinner were rapping, and the rap that they did, because remember they were in a band. If y'all watch Degrassi, like let me know that I'm not by myself with this. But if you watch Degrassi, you know that they were in a band, right? And so Spinner and Jimmy were trying to do a rap like take the band in a different direction because they wanted to perform a song, but the song was already taken by the girls band. And so they did this rap, and the rap was so horrible. I cringed the entire time. And the part about it that really messed me up is that it was like offbeat. I'm trying to remember what they said. It was like a homie is oh, I can't say that. It was so bad. It was so bad. But at the end of it, the last line, like the punch line was, "Now shut up, girl, and make my lunch." And then they did a pose like this. And not only was the rap bad, like it was just bad. But I think the part for me that really made me cringe was how it felt like it felt like a slap in the face to rap, like like legit, like it felt like a slap in the face. And so y'all know those scenes in like movies and TV shows where like people who are very clearly not rappers, they are not a part of the culture, they start trying to rap, right? Like to be cool, right? Or to appeal to the black people, they do a rap, right? And the fact that he participated in that, it was given sellout. Like it was given sellout. Hey friend. Like that's how I felt when I saw it. And I felt like that was a part for me that really stuck out to me. Like you would do whatever you need to do for the check. And I just was it was the part that made it funny was the fact that the rap was bad, not the fact that it felt like you were mocking rap culture, hip hop culture. And so when he started making music, I remember one of his first songs that he did was with Trey Songz. And I remember listening to it and I was like, I cannot take you seriously because I remember that rap that you did. I remember that rap that you did where you were literally, thank you, where you were literally rap like mocking hip hop culture. And now you want to be a rapper and be taken seriously? Be for real. Be for real. So I was never buying it. I was never buying it. And for me, thank you, Sullivan man. I'm always gonna side eye the people who it feels like you are only doing what's cool in order for you to get the check. And like we even saw this um with like Miley Cyrus or with Justin Timberlake or who else like dip they toe or like they went the black route in order to get us on board with them to be their fans, and then they go out and they start making the music they really want to make. Like Miley Cyrus was she had the song with Juicy J, and then her next album was her swinging on a wrecking ball. Like, and it's like, or like, I think that was when, is that the time where she went country? Yeah. Yeah, that's a top 2. Like, and that's how I saw Drake, y'all. And it was like it didn't matter to me how hard it didn't matter how hard he went. It didn't matter how well he did like numbers wise with streaming. All that proved to me was that he was smart. And I don't think that he's dumb by any means necessary. I mean by any means, but I do feel like he is like ruthless in the sense that it is really and has always been about me. Like I feel like he's just a selfish person. I feel like he's a selfish person. And so I know there's like a whole lot to say about somebody that I've never met. And I could meet him one day and be completely wrong, but that's just not how it's looking right now. That's not how it's looking right now. So I feel like it definitely is impacting his brand. And I definitely feel like it's ruining his brand. because now like people can't act like they ain't see what he's doing. Like no one can act like he's not out here pressing charges after a rap battle, regardless of what his real motivations are behind it, regardless of what he's really trying to do with this. Yeah, like we cannot take him seriously. I cannot take him serious. I never could. But now everybody else can see it too. Yeah, now I feel like I feel vindicated. Like this is what I was trying to tell y'all, and y'all was acting like all of my statements were like coming out of thin air. And I was just like, no, I just I can see it. Like I can see it. And I was like, I really wasn't getting why other people weren't seeing it too. This the Degrassi in him. Like he's just you're just it's not. It's not. And you know what I would have really appreciated? I would have really appreciated if he didn't try so hard to make that his persona. So, and this kind of leads me away from Drake and a little bit more into Kendrick because I've been wanting to talk about Kendrick's new album for the past like 3 or 4 days. And it's the day that I finally get to talk about it. Now I got to talk about Drake. And that makes me a little irritated that he's trying to insert himself into Kendrick's moment. But there was this conversation that we were having about artists, right? And how some artists seems like they have a whole career. I'm not going to give anything away. The album is good though. Okay, if y'all have not listened to the album, it is a good album. It's so good. So yeah. Oh, yes, that's a good word. I would definitely call him an opportunist. I think that he's both. I think that he's an opportunist. I think that he's entitled. And I don't feel like it came from the money. I feel like he's just been entitled and opportunist. And so and I was and that brings me back to what I was saying. So I was thinking about how there are some artists who are able to evolve like Kendrick, right? Like Kendrick Lamar, it seems like Kendrick just keeps getting better, and every album I'm listening to it and I'm like, how are you getting better at this? Like how have you been doing this for 20 years and you're still this good? Like it's still this good, especially as a rapper, because rappers career spans do not last long. Like they just don't have long careers. Like it's like for the most part it's a young man's game. And yes, and Drake does what's trending. Drake does what he knows is going to he follows a formula. That's what it is. He follows a formula. And so what that does is as long as he is able to catch the trend, right? Ride the wave, and he's the first one or one of the first people to catch it cuz I can never take that away from him. He be catching on to what's going to be popular before most people do, right? Like he catches it early. But that is not authentic. And as if you're always trying to catch the culture and follow this formula, that you don't evolve as a person. And even if you listen to the lyrics of his music, remember how I was saying that it seems like he never heals? Like he's just never healed. Like you never healed from that girl that broke your heart when you was 13. Like you never healed from any of the wounds in your life. You just keep talking about the same stuff. And that's so irritating to me because I'm not that kind of person. Like I'm the kind of person who wants to grow, who wants to evolve. And so it's naturally an irritant. Hey, Kuma, it's naturally an irritant for me to have to continuously, year after year after year, hear somebody whining about the same stuff. Why haven't you found someone that just loves you? Like, like it's ridiculous. And even if you have, I'm not saying he had to have found somebody and, be happily in love, but even just like there is no evolution. There's no growth, there's no revelation. It just all feels performative and cyclical. And so unhealed man music and stripper songs. Yeah. Like, you make the music for people who don't wanna be better. Like, I just wanna dance and forget that I hate my life. That's just, or be reminded of it, but at least it's to a fun beat, that's what it's given. That's what it's giving me. So, I like, and that's when Kendrick dropped his diss tracks, it disrupted his framework. It disrupted it. Like, he literally like called it out for what it is. And I think that it had to come from somebody who was as respected as Kendrick was in the industry in order for it to really make an impact, because I don't personally feel like that's the first time I've heard anybody say that about Drake. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just don't feel like that's the first time I've ever heard people say that about Drake. And I know for a fact it's not the first time I have said it. I was like, this is okay, do you? It's a bop. It's a bop. I will give you that. But is it really good music? Like, do I really want to hear this 10 years from now? I can't say that I do. So I felt like that disrupted it. And I feel like it shook people up a little bit, because even if you were like on Drake's side of the beef, you really can't dispute what he's saying about him. Thank you, Mask. You can't dispute what he's saying. Drake is the last of the lost boys in Neverland. It just like I don't want to, like, I just don't want to leave. I don't want to grow up. Like, I don't want to be an adult. Like, I don't want to be a grown up. That's what it's feeling like. That's so good. A formula, like a caricature. He's not raw and real like Kendrick. Yes. And that brings me back to Kendrick's album, y'all. And this is one of the things. Okay. I'm going to describe this and then I'm going to tell y'all what I took from the album overall, like as a body of work. So he does rhyme with fake. So when listening to Kendrick's album, it you can literally hear the growth, right? Like, you can hear the evolution, you can hear the battles that he has just within himself. Like, I feel like I'm doing everything that I'm supposed to do, and I've been using my voice for good, and I've been bringing the people in LA together. Like, I've been doing all this good. And in the song, one of the songs, it's like, yeah, but in your heart you still want drama. He's like, in your heart you still want problems. And so it's like, how can you just be doing the work, but what you really desire in your heart does not align? And listening to that, it it illustrated the battle that he still has, even at the level that he's at, even at the place that he's at, where it's like, it's tempting to be like, I've done all I can do. Like, I've reached this pinnacle. Like, it can get to a place where you can be very prideful. Like, I've reached the cap. Like, I'm like almost like God status, right? Like, who can touch me? Like, and not in the way that he typically does it, but in the sense of like just being a human. I've reached that status. And the fact that he's having these conversations in the music, that is so beautiful to me. And then even just revisiting where he came from and where he started and the people that he's lost along the way, and still having a hard time with having real friendships now. Like, I started this with a certain group of people. Some people passed away. Some people just fell off and started moving weird. Some people I pushed away. And now I'm at this level in my career, and the people that I started building this with, they're not there no more. Like all of this stuff is being illustrated in the music, and that's what makes it so good, is that it is coupling the skill that he's refining, because year after year he's still making music, he's still challenging himself and pushing boundaries, but also he's bringing in the real about the journey, the real about who he is, the real about, I got some good stuff going on and I got some trash stuff that's going on. And I'm not perfect even still, and that to me, it makes me, as a creator, as a creative person, it makes me feel like I don't have to be afraid of I don't have to be afraid of what comes next, from a place of I can't beat what I just did. Yeah, like y'all know how sometimes we have what we accomplish something, and it's something that maybe we felt like we would never be able to do, or it feels like, wow, like I finally made it to this status, but how am I going to top this? And you start feeling like anxious, like how am I going to beat this? Like how am I going to do any better than this? And seeing somebody like him literally illustrate what that looks like, to to like knock it out the park every single time. Like he doesn't have to be, and maybe he still has those feelings, but he doesn't let those feelings stop him from making music. Like, I know my last album was great, but I'm still going to make another one. And I'm still going to make another one and another one. And then this one, I'm going to bring in my people who I see who are putting in the work, who don't get enough shine, or the people who I feel like will really bring a certain energy to my album. And I'm a rock with this group of people, because I really believe in their vision and what they're doing. Like it's not this like what ceiling, like what cap. Like there's this line in one of Tyler the Creator's songs where they say the sky is not the limit, the sky is what we stand on. And that song, like it gets me hyped every time I listen to it, because I'm like, these are bars, man. These are bars. Like I love that kind of energy, especially coming from Black people. Like it just feels good to hear that I'm not limiting myself. I'm not capping myself. I'm not gonna hold back, because I'm afraid that if I give it my all, that's all I can accomplish. That's all I can do. Yeah. So let me see what you said. I'm curious about your take on the brand personas and how they may clash. Are you talking about the personas between Drake and Kendrick? I know what you mean. I'm learning. You don't beat it, you transcend it. Yeah, that's a good way of looking at it. Yeah, no, he hasn't evolved. He hasn't evolved. And you can tell just by the, like that selfish, entitled energy, that's not the energy of someone who is evolving. Like that's the energy of someone who is afraid, who is like holding on and trying to like keep whatever they can. Like that's the type of energy that I get from him. So when I think about Drake grew up coddled. Dude has been a celebrity his whole life. Yeah, that's why somebody was saying, isn't entitled?" And I was like, I feel like he's always been entitled. Which is like again the energy that I got from him, even on Degrassi. I was like, you can't be trusted. Like you can't be trusted. And there's just certain things y'all would probably say that I was being um vain for some of the reasons that I said that I just didn't trust him, even as Jimmy. But I can't, yeah, like I said, I can't explain it. I can't explain it. If you feel like I'm reaching, that's fine. But I feel like what we're seeing right now is like I was right. It may have sounded judgmental, but was I wrong though? Yeah. I feel you on it, because Kendrick has this one song called King Kunta. Yeah. Actually, in this video the name of this live, I said that Kendrick is still king or is still a king. Oh, I forgot how I worded it exactly, but I feel like Kendrick is. I feel like he's in the Sovereign brand family, especially like he doesn't. He has different personas that he takes on with each album, but he is another example of modern royalty to me. And there's this natural leadership that he has, this natural duty that he has to people, to his community. And there's like that hold to tradition that he has as well. And the essence and the true nature of hip hop. And I know that a lot of that has to do with his upbringing and being around some of the greatest rappers alive to ever, the greatest rappers to ever do it. And there's like this commitment to the integrity of the art form, right? And so I as I'm like watching him and looking back on the type of person that he is and the things that he's the ways that he's like the characters that he's given himself, like King Kunta, for sure. Also I know that he's definitely a creator, and I say that he would probably be more in the visionary category. Actually, no, he might be no, I'm gonna stay on I think I see him as a visionary. I see him as a visionary. Um, just based off of his music. And so even when he was doing not the last album, but the album before, when he was doing a lot of like imagery like Jesus, Sovereign, like he literally is like like modern royalty. And I think it's so cool because it is we're able to see it from a different perspective, like not in the usual adornments and the ways in which people present themselves as royalty, as kings and queens, right? But it's in present day. It's like what it looks like in LA, like what it looks like in the hood, what it looks like just in everyday, movements. This is what it looks like to be royalty. And so that's definitely that's definitely his personality. Pac would have messed with K. I feel like he would have to. Kung Fu Kenny. Yeah, I love Kung Fu Kenny. I like King Kunta too. Um I don't know what his character was for when he was doing like the thorns and everything like Jesus. I don't know. I don't remember what that one was. If y'all remember it, let me know. Oh, is that where your name came from, Kuma? I did not know. Does all of this tarnish Drake's brand, or does it feed into it? That's a good question. So I don't I don't feel like I feel like it does, but not in the way that you might think. Like I feel like overall, I feel like Drake's brand has definitely taken a hit. And even for people who weren't necessarily like Drake haters or who didn't really have any strong feelings about Drake either way, they don't even feel comfortable listening to his music. Like it's just something about it that it feels like fraudulent. And also if like you like is this you? Like this you for real? And like all those allegations that I feel like people don't talk about the allegations as much anymore. But as things progress, what's done in the dark will come to light, right? Like it's going to come to light if that's the truth. But what I do feel like it is doing is I feel like it is revealing to the people who weren't trying to see it that this is really who he is. So I don't feel like I've never got the impression that Drake really has done anything in his career that's contrary to his brand. You know what I mean? Like, I don't feel like he's ever I feel like every move that he's ever made has always been on brand. I think that what I guess, like, if you're thinking about it from a public perception, then yeah, I think that it does impact it. But I don't know if it would necessarily be like a mm, he's gonna still have people. Like, he's gonna still have his fans. He's gonna still have his people that listen to his music. I feel like it would take something more significant than a rap battle that to really like take him down. So, like I said, the things that he's been accused of as time progresses, I feel like those are going to be the things that would really, really make his brand take a hit. So one thing that I have to do, which will be a challenge for me because I just really don't like Drake. I don't even know how I can't say it no better than that, y'all. I just really do not like that man. I just don't. But I do feel like one of the families that he would be a part of is the jester. And not because I think he's a clown, but because he has this way about him that never takes things too seriously. Like, there's always an element of humor that he brings, and if I had to choose any of them, I would say that it might be somewhere between. I mean, he might literally be the clown, like no shade at all. Like, I think he might like legit be the clown, but or the entertainer, because that has always been one of his things is he's going to make light of a situation. Even when like you look at some of his music videos, like he takes the stuff that people say about him and he turns it into a joke. Like, he just kind of like takes everything on the chin. And I think that's another reason why him responding to this beef the way that he did and pressing these charges, it feels like it's a weird move, bro. Like, it's just a weird move, especially because it seems like any other time you've had something happen in your career, your first resort was humor. But when you start moving differently in response to things, it makes it feel like what's going on here. Yeah, so that is as far as I got right now. And again, the reason why I have a hard time with Drake's brand is because I don't feel like we've really seen him be Drake. I feel like we've seen him be everybody else. Is even the fact that he goes by Drake and not Aubrey. Like, we know your name is Aubrey. Like, it's just there's just so many things where it feels like I feel like he's going through an identity crisis. And that was one thing that I was thinking about when I was talking about this topic earlier, when I was given the comparison of how Kendrick approached his career and how it's led to his longevity versus how Drake has ran his career and how it still has made him a very rich man and he's been able to sustain a very long career. However, where he's at right now, I feel like we were literally witnessing an identity crisis. Like, when you're confronted and someone's telling you who you are and you can't rebut it, I felt like we were literally watching an identity crisis in real time. And I feel like he's still scrambling to try to figure it out. Like, I don't feel like he knows who he is. And so for me, watching it, especially like when seeing somebody's who's like their confidence has taken a hit, it's hard to really get a grasp of what that brand really looks like. And so the jester is the best that I got for y'all. The jester, and what I would really hope for him is that he would take a new approach. Like, especially if his goal really is to try to do his own thing and not be under a label, and to be an independent artist, like, hey Felicia, I hope that that independence comes with some like realness. Like, I hope that it means that you're not going to just keep doing what you've always done, because clearly it's not working anymore. And the people who many of the people, some people still don't agree that no, Drake doesn't have a real personality or whatever. Um, but I hope that he realizes that like what he has done has not only made himself look wild, but you've proven that the culture, you didn't really care about us. Like you didn't care. You cared in as much as you could profit from it. And that to me is the part that makes it so vile, because if you would have just been yourself from the beginning, we wouldn't be here. Like that's the part that I feel is the most damaging. And I can only imagine how it would feel for me if I was like a real Drake fan and watching this and trying to reconcile with that. Like, this is somebody that I really was rocking with. Like, this is somebody that I mean, cared about, who I was rooting for. And then to find out that like he really was just in it for the money and not for the love of it. Like, you don't care about the craft, you don't care about the culture, you really only care about yourself. Like, that's the part to me where it's like that would mess me up. Like, that would mess me up. Let me see what you said, Adrian. In general, how can an identity crisis or evolution change your brand? What should you do once you've been confronted with who you are versus who you were? So that's a good question. Let me see if I can answer this in different parts. Give me a second. So, to answer your first part, an identity crisis and an evolution are two different things, but the crisis can lead to an evolution if you let it. Okay, so let's say for instance that I'll try to use myself as an example and like plug in some correlations here. So, oh y'all, actually, I have the perfect example. This is actually a really recent example. So I'm about to be vulnerable with y'all. I'm about to be vulnerable with y'all. It's going to be a little bit off from Drake and Kendrick. But if you want to learn a little bit more about me, then that's what this is going to be about. Okay. But I'm going to use myself as an example to answer this. So I had the realization that I have not been accepting one of my one of my brand personalities. Okay. So if y'all remember, I told y'all that I was the creator and then the visionary, right? And if you remember, the visionary is a part of the creator family. And when I initially took the quiz, or when I played the game, I wasn't connecting with any other personalities outside of the creator, right? And the creator and the rebel or the reformer, which is in the rebel family. And so but what I couldn't shake this feeling that I was having, that I feel this connection to the sovereign brand personality. Like, and I could not shake it. No matter how much I tried, I could not shake it. I was like, I feel this connection to it. And I was thinking about it today, and I had a moment where I was just I just had some downtime. I was thinking about it in the shower, actually, y'all. The shower, I don't know why I have like the greatest revelations when I'm in the shower, but that's when like, my best ideas come to me sometimes. And so I was in the shower and I was like, I really feel a connection to the ambassador, which is in the sovereign family. And I was having such a hard time with that because I don't feel like I feel like every brand personality is amazing in its own way. So it wasn't like I was necessarily turned off by that. But remember how I was telling y'all that there are some things about the brand personalities that although you can identify with it, you may not like it. Like you may not want that. Like it's not the cool thing or it's not the personality or the characteristic that you feel like is as cool as this characteristic, right? And so I was having a hard time with that feeling of I feel like I know that I'm an ambassador because of my ability to connect with people from different cultures. Like and it's always been like that for me. And I like it doesn't matter like literally literally oh no, let me fix this. Did this die? Literally let me know if that's better. Literally people from like cultures all over the world, like I'm able to connect with different people and I've enjoyed that. Is it back, y'all? Oh, my battery's dying. Okay, I gotta. It's gonna be a little janky over on TikTok. I'm sorry, y'all. That's why I need to plug this up. So, I was realizing that I connected with the ambassador. Even when I was reading the card to y'all talking about the sovereign, I was like, I connect to the ambassador. So I'm sitting here like fighting it because I'm like, no, because I can't be over here telling people about their brand personalities and then I'm over here realizing that I messed up on one. Like I'm over here like I felt like I should just know it. Like I should just be firm in it. And I I realized though that that wasn't the only problem that I was having with it. Okay. The other problem that I was having with it is that part of myself, I've always loved that I could connect with people from different races, different ethnicities, different backgrounds. Like I really can. I love being around different kinds of people. But when I started to go to schools that were predominantly black, that was something that I felt hurt me. Like I felt like I didn't fit in. I felt like even just like down to the way that I talked, like it was just like certain things about me that I felt didn't make me fit in with everybody else. And so I felt like a certain like a sense of shame around that. And so I'm sitting here thinking about it in the shower and I'm like, wow, this is still happening. Like I still have some of those feelings. And that was I wouldn't say that it was an identity crisis, but I could I like the it could have become one, you know, like it really could have become one, especially if I continue to fight it. Like continue to be like, no, I don't want to embrace that side of myself. I don't want to be that person. I don't want to embrace that that could have kept me in crisis mode, right? Always being unsure, always feeling unsettled and just like there's just it feels like a part of me is just not coming out, right? And even when it comes to accepting it, you never know what that could lead to, like what that could be connecting you to. And so that's where the identity crisis turns into the evolution. Okay? Are y'all still following me on this? And so that is how it can impact your brain. And so like on a practical level, right? um Me accepting that I am an ambassador, right, would mean that instead of my business and who I attract only being black people, which that wasn't what I do. And if y'all know me, like, I don't use that language. Like, I've never said I'm exclusively for black people. I am black. I'm always going to be black, and I'm always going to care about black people. But that has never been I've never been just for black people. And so if I chose, let's say that I chose to reject that whole ambassador route, that whole ambassador perspective, there could have been an entire multicultural approach, or even like a global aspect to what I do for my business that I would be now shutting myself off from because I don't want to embrace this ambassador role. I don't want to embrace my ability to find the commonalities and to be able to connect, not only to connect with those people myself, but being able to bring those people together too and help people to come together from different places, different backgrounds. I would be missing out on an entire aspect of my brand, of who I am. I would literally be shutting myself off from it. And so when you've been confronted with who you are, that's a great question. What should you do when you've been confronted with who you are versus who you were? You should embrace it. You should embrace it. And if it takes you steps to embrace it, that's okay too. I would say that if you can't just like be like, you know what? I accept that. I'll be that. If that still feels like that's a challenge for you to do, then I would encourage you to explore why you feel like that. Why are you rejecting it? What is it that you're fighting? Where does that come from? I can guarantee it's going to come from some kind of trauma. It's going to come from some area where you haven't forgiven yourself. It's going to come from some area where it feels shameful. And when it feels shameful, it literally feels painful to explore that area again, right? Like those are the feelings that keep that part of yourself locked away and where you don't want to explore. You don't want to figure that out. I don't want to embrace it because if I embrace it, all this other stuff is going to come out with it. And I don't know if I want that. Like, I don't want to deal with that. I rather just stay where it's comfortable, stay where it's not as painful, where I don't have to feel the shame or revisit the past. So that's one thing that I would say. But another thing that can help you to learn to embrace it is to take a minute to really think about the experiences that you've had in your life that were um, fulfilling. The experiences or the conversations that you had with people where it felt like this is like one of those conversations where it's like the right place and the right time, and it just feels I feel energized by this interaction. I feel energized by this experience or this conversation. Another thing that you can do is to pay attention to what people say about you. Now, I know we're always saying, don't worry about what anybody else thinks. Don't listen to nobody else. Don't take in everybody else's opinions. And I understand like the moderation of that and the like selectivity of it. But one thing that I feel like we do too often is we underestimate how much people don't have to compliment us. Like, people don't have to say nice things about you. People don't have to be kind. People definitely don't have to compliment you. And if you really like think about how often you've thought something nice about somebody and didn't say it, that would really put things into perspective. Like when you see a girl and you're out and you're like, dang, her outfit is so cute, but then you don't tell her. And that's no shade or no slight, but what I'm saying is that people don't have to compliment you. People don't have to say kind things about you. And if they feel moved to say those things about you, we should believe them. Like, we should believe the positive things that people say. And the reason why I'm saying that one in particular is because that will speak directly to the character traits that you have that exhibit these different brand personalities, whether it's the ones that you already like and you rock with, and the ones that you're trying to fight off. Like, no, thank you. Keep that. I'm gonna go and find me another one. I'm gonna go find the one that I like. So that's what I would say is how you would go from identity crisis to evolution and how you begin to confront it and accept it, because it is the evolution is inevitable. Well, the change is inevitable, but allowing you to evolve is where you make the decision. The sovereign stability, it sounds like you get that and can give that to others. Yeah, it's like it's really one of those things that I when I look back through like my life, I was just like, why am I trying to fight this? Why am I trying to fight this, man? And well, the last thing that I'll say on that, and then we can touch on like the last bit of the Drake and Kendrick stuff. But the creator brand personality, I absolutely love that brand personality, y'all. Like, I love the fact that I am a creator. I love the fact that when I read those cards, when I read that personality, the good and the bad, like the strengths and the challenges, I love them both. I'm like, y'all, that's me. I can be dramatic, like I can definitely be moody. Like that's me. And I love the creator. I love the creatives. And so I feel like I was leaning so heavily into that it felt like it almost didn't make sense with the sovereign. Like it didn't make sense to be in that place too. It's like, how can you be sovereign and creative? But then I see somebody like Kendrick who's doing it, and I'm like, that's why. That's why. That's how. That's how. You can have the stability. You can honor the traditions. You can have that leadership and that stability and still be a creative person and push boundaries. And so like that's what makes me so excited about him. And I've loved Kendrick for years, y'all. Like literally since the first song I heard by Kendrick Lamar. Hey y'all, hey Lloyd. The first song I heard from Kendrick Lamar, I was like, I'm sold. I am sold. I love it. And I love that he stands 10 toes down on, no, this I'm going to honor what started this. I'm going to honor why this art form is so important. I'm going to honor the integrity of it. And that's me. That's me. The last thing too, y'all, about the sovereign and the creator, if I'm not mistaken, both brand personalities are motivated by stability. I remember. I think it's stability and control for the creator, and then the sovereign is motivated by stability. I'm gonna double check that just to make sure, but I think that I saw the commonalities. I was doing a bunch of research. Okay, like I was on Google, like click clacking it up, trying to figure this out, because I was like, I need answers. I need answers. So there is even like that commonality that on the surface they look like they're two completely different things, and they are, but the way that you embody them is what makes them so dope. Like it's what makes them so special. So yeah, y'all. There's something special about honoring your craft and not bending for the culture. Facts. And that's what I always be saying. That's why I do not like trends. Y'all, like I'm saying like this is me. This is me. It's too much. Like it is too scattered and unpredictable and all over the place. It is quite literally a distraction for me. It's a distraction. Like I get like you got to be relevant. You can't just completely be, off in la la land or, somewhere in outer space, but I just love the fact that he like dips off for years, makes his music, does his work in the community, takes care of his family, goes to therapy, and then he come back with another fire album that references what's happening in the times. Like it's always current. He manages to be current and also have like this stability in this tradition and then also be ahead of the curve at the same time. It's like how is that possible? How is that possible? Like it's just it's so good. And the way that people respond to it, it's not hype. Like I know some people are like gassing Kendrick up, and it's like you can't dispute the way that people respond to him. Like you just can't. Like it's not all hype. Even like the fact that Drake is like saying that the numbers are inflated. I was like, the numbers don't need to be inflated. The song is a bop. Okay. Everyone talks about it, even the people that are not in the culture. It has transcended our culture. It's like you like what are we talking about here? Like even when J. Cole had like dropped his little diss and then he took it back. Um and that's not to diminish J. Cole, y'all. I actually really like J. Cole too, but that was a little diss and it was not a good one. And the reason why it wasn't good is because like how are you gonna say that his album was a flop? I was like, are we looking at the same artist? Like, what are you talking about? No one had to gas him up. It was just good. It was just good. I still listen to all of it. Like it came out yesterday. Like what like if you're gonna diss him, like do a good one. Like that just was like you didn't try. And that's what I didn't respect about that. Like you just didn't try. Like you can never say that. Pick a new thing. Pick a new topic. Pick a new thing to challenge him on or talk about him about because that doesn't work. It doesn't even make sense. You sound ridiculous. So I think there's a level of faith needed too because ultimately it's believing God gonna get you to your destination. I yes, yeah, I think that there is definitely a high level of faith that I'm so glad you said that, Lloyd, because that is a really important component in all of this. And especially going back to the conversation about being able to evolve and being able to transcend, like Adrian mentioned, not beating your last success, but transcending it. That is an important part of all of that. Is that dependence, that faith, and knowing that I can only get better. I can only grow from here and trusting that God's got you. Like I love that more and more we hear about his relationship and his faith because as a creative person, that's always been an important part of my journey. And I think that for every creative. And I'm not saying that if you don't believe in Jesus or if you don't believe in God, you can't deny the fact that you have to believe in something. As a creative person, there's so much of what we do that is not about our skills, but it's about our faith. It's a like a soul aspect to what we do that there's a spiritual aspect to what we do that you can't really put your finger on it. Like you get an idea and then you just got to do that thing. Like I can't explain to you why this is what I'm supposed to do or why this is what I'm supposed to talk about. I just know I got to do it. And that's why the whole formula thing is whack to me. Like I mean, sure, you can follow your formula, but you're not going to evolve. You're not going to grow. You're going to always have to follow that formula. Sovereign is stability and order, creators, legacy, control, and meaning. Okay. I'm gonna have to look at there's another, it wasn't my blog, it's another blog that I was looking at that I was referencing. So let me go and check that one too because there it like literally what I like about her blog is she literally like has a chart of the motivations. So let me go and check that out and then I'll definitely report back. Like for sure, for sure. Yeah. So, oh, that actually makes me think about legacy because I have a thought on legacy too, but it is a good pairing. It is a good pairing. Sovereign and creator is a fire pairing, and I'm a fan of it. I'm a fan of it. So I am embracing my role as ambassador, y'all. I'm not gonna let it make me itch as much. It doesn't make me itch. Actually, like thinking about it, like, I was like, yeah, that makes sense. I think the hardest part was just being open about it and letting y'all know that it really is a journey. Like it really is a journey. So yeah. The album, if y'all have not listened to Kendrick's album, listen to that album, okay? Listen to that album. It is just good. I was so excited because I feel like I can't listen to Poetic Justice no more. And I love Poetic Justice, but I also never liked the fact that he did it with Drake. I was like, why did you choose Drake? But you know what? It's fine. It's fine. The past is the past. Okay. We won't harp on that. But I didn't feel like I didn't even want to listen to Poetic Justice no more. And that's how I knew like something was really wrong. And so he has a new song on the album called Luther. I was like, we found a replacement, guys. We found a replacement. Luther is it's good. It's good. So listen to the album. Um, and there was something else I wanted to mention from it. Oh, okay. Y'all, so y'all know how they're saying that this is not like he's gonna release another album and that this is not the real album. Where do y'all land on that? Like where do y'all fall on that theory? Because at first I felt like people were reaching when they said that, especially because they were saying it like the day it dropped. I'm like, how are you saying that already? Like, what are you talking about? Why do you feel like he just dropped it? Like, why would you feel like he's gonna drop another one? And everybody's had like their different like theories to explain it. Like he's got two of the same car in the music video and something else that he said. But I'm gonna tell y'all why I feel like Kendrick is going to drop another album, but I feel like it's not going to be a new album. I feel like it's going to be like the part two, like almost like a deluxe album. And the reason why I say that is because I was listening to it on my ride up to DC. And so my drive up to DC is without traffic an hour, right? Like almost like an hour even. Actually, it was like 59 minutes. And so I was like, this would be the perfect time to listen to the album. And, worst case scenario, I don't get to finish it on the drive because typically albums are at least an hour long. And so while I was listening to it, the album stopped at like it stopped at like 49 minutes. And I still had 10 more minutes left of my drive. And so I was sitting there thinking, I was like, dang, that's like super short for an album. It was super short. And I felt like it made me think about even how in his last album, it all was released at once, but it had parts to it, right? Like it had two parts. And so I almost liken it to how like plays have an intermission. And so I feel like this next part I feel like it's going to be a part two. I don't feel like it's going to be a brand new album. I think it's going to be a continuation of it because that was really short for an album. So I feel like it's going to be like a deluxe situation. And if that's the case, I'm really excited now. Like I'm curious. I'm like where else can you take it? But again, that's that limited thinking that I can get to sometimes where I feel like how you gonna top this? You know what I'm saying? Like that's how I be feeling. So that's just me projecting a little bit, I guess. But I am excited, and that's my theory. That's my theory. So I don't know. I guess I feel like I feel like he's gonna call it something creative. Like he wouldn't just call it GNX2, but I don't know. We didn't know he was gonna drop an album, so who am I to guess? But that's what I think. That's my theory. So I can rock with the this ain't everything, but I don't feel like it's gonna be a whole brand new album. So yeah. What y'all think about that? I think so. I thought that his label didn't know that he was dropping this album. Yeah, that's what I heard. Somebody was like, he dropped the album and just CC'd the label. Like, yeah, by the way, this dropped. Like they said, like he did it as per my last email on them. Like he did not tell nobody nothing. That's why I was like, I woke up and I saw it was Lloyd. Lloyd is the reason why I knew because I saw him say, I saw him post about it on LinkedIn, and he was like, "Yeah, I was gonna post today, but Kendrick dropped a new album, so I'm gonna go listen to that." And I was like, "He dropped the album," and so I was thoroughly confused. There's literally no marketing at all. So yeah, his label didn't know, apparently, and now we feel like there's going to be a part two. And I think at this point, he has definitely shown us that he's capable of dropping as much music as he wants to because the back-to-back diss tracks was I didn't think he was going to be able to top that. But once again, limiting thinking because he is showing us that he's going to do whatever he wants to. And I'm here for it. I'm here for it. So yeah, y'all, that is my topic for today. I feel like I finally got it off my chest. Got King Kendrick, King Kunta. I don't know what to call him now. But I definitely see the I'm gonna have to figure out what his third one is. I'm gonna have to figure out what his third one is. I'm gonna sit on that one. But sovereign and creator for sure. For sure. And as far as Drake goes, we have to figure it out. Do you think the athlete could also be a part of Kendrick's persona? Athlete. I could see Hero definitely being one of them. Uh, because I was thinking Hero. Um, but I was also thinking Rebel. So, it's a very interesting mix. I was thinking Rebel as well because both the Rebel and the Hero, we talked about this already, but they're motivated by mastery. And so, I don't I think the only thing that I would say that makes me wonder about it is that he doesn't give me the impression that um it's like by any means necessary. It's more like y'all jack this stuff up and now we need to fix it cuz like there's no way you're just going to leave it like this. Like that's the kind of energy that he gives me. Yeah. So I'm gonna sit with it a little bit. I think that for that last one, um I'm gonna have to look at what he does like outside of his music. And he's so private. So that's the part that makes it challenging too. He's so private. Um but I could see one of those though. I could see one of those. But I feel like there's like some rebel energy in there. And so okay, this is what I'll also say about that too. So I have gone through when I first found out about brand personalities, I took this quiz. And one of my main one, my top one was creator, like by leaps and bounds. The other one was the rebel, and then the last one was hero, right? And so when I read the hero, I felt like I could understand why that was what I got, but I never felt like I could really identify with the hero. And I felt like there were some aspects of the hero and the rebel that were so similar that was where that response came from because every other time I've gone through that process, the hero doesn't resonate with me. Like I get some of like the will to do things and like not taking no for an answer basically. but there's something about the hero that doesn't it doesn't hit for me all the way. And so it makes me wonder if that's also what I'm picking up from him. But also, I might be projecting because that's how I feel. That's how I see it. But it's like there's a certain aspect to the hero that I'm having a hard time putting my finger on right now. But I think that a part of it is the ways that they engage with people. Like it feels like the hero almost is like, you know how I was comparing the hero, I was saying a lot of coaches fit the hero brand personality, and the involvement in people's development that the coach has. And that's what makes me think about the hero. And they're not is not as much as like the superheroes where they're like this celebrity or this public figure, but the hero as a brand personality, it feels very involved in people's lives. And I don't get that from him. Like I feel like he has relationships with people, obviously, and he does things in his community, but I don't feel like he operates in the capacity of like a coach or a mentor. Thank you, Keith. That's like I don't feel like that, and that's what I feel like. I feel like he, instead of like the development of the person, it's more of the change in the system. That's what it is. That's what it is. Like the focus shifts slightly from the people to the system. And that's what I feel like that's what I feel like is more of a focus for him. And so that's where the back and forth comes from on those. But I definitely could see both. You do a good job, Adrian, of picking up on the brand personalities. Like it makes me excited. I'm glad that like they're really like resonating with you. But yeah, those are my thoughts on that. Those are my thoughts. Um, all right, y'all. Oh, last thing before I go. So we are at 681. Is this showing? Oh, that looks good on my camera. We're at 681, 681 subscribers. It is, we got 4 days to see what happens, 3 days to see what happens because today is the fourth day. Um, and I don't know what I'm going to do on December 1st. I don't know. I might still show up on here. I might take a break. I have no idea yet, y'all. But what I will say is that I have really enjoyed the people that I've met while I've been doing this challenge. I have really been enjoying being able to just talk. I am still astonished at how long I can talk every day. Like it still is really messing with me because why do I be talking so much? But I love the fact that I'm having conversations with people who are interested in these topics too. It feels good. It feels good. And it's this has been this time around because I've done challenges like this two other times. And this time around, it has felt the most fun, the most engaging, the most successful. And I really want y'all to know how much I appreciate that and how easy it's made it to show up every day. Even though, like I said, I be feeling a way about having to talk on live. But once I get on here and start talking, I'm fine. Like I'm good. So thank you to every person that has listened to this and for every person that finds it after the challenge is over, because I know that the content's going to still be there. So you're not any less appreciated just because you didn't find me uh, before I did this. So thank you guys. Yeah. I'll let y'all know. I'll definitely let you know my pick, Adrian. So y'all have a good night. Y'all be safe. you get the rest of your Thanksgiving shopping. If you got to do some Thanksgiving shopping done, um, definitely be safe out here with these people shopping because I just know it's getting progressively worse in the grocery store. And I'll talk to y'all tomorrow about we'll find out. Okay. So bye y'all. I'll see you tomorrow.